All right. All right. Up here. You need peanut butter or something?
No.
Are you looking?
Yes.
So I have two things multiplied together. I don't know what they are. This times this equals 0. If I have two things or more multiplied together and they equal 0,
You need a 0.
what do you know? What do you know, Maddie?
You need a 0.
You need a 0. If you're multiplying numbers together and it equals 0, that tells you at least one of these has to be 0, right? At least one, could be both. Both of them could equal 0, but at least one. So, for instance, if x plus 2, x plus 5 equals 0, I'm multiplying this thing times this thing, and I get an answer of 0. What does that tell you about one of these two things? One of them has to be 0, one or both. So today, we're going to solve these, and we're going to use the idea that when you're multiplying and you get an answer of 0, that one or more of those things has to equal 0. So in other words, we're multiplying this times this, and it equals 0. So that means either this thing has to equal 0, or that one equals 0. And remember when we solve, we want to get x equals something. So you know how to solve this, right? Oh, I screwed up. Oh, well. X equals -2. One possibility is that x is -2. And then right here, -5, -5. So what's the other possibility? X is -5. And if you plug in -2, -2 plus 2 is 0. 0 times anything is 0. If you plug in -5, -5 plus 5, it's 0. And 0 times anything will be 0. Do you vaguely remember doing that at all way back in the day, Algebra 1, the good old days, fighting over the chair and, all that? Do you remember?
Oh, that
Oh,
chair.
the good old days.
I'm not sure.
All of them.
Didn't your chair used to look different?
Well, it didn't have a chair on top of it.
Yeah, wasn't it just a...
Yes, but you can't sit in it now. Because it's not a hard surface, it can't be sanitized. So we can pass COVID. That chair is a COVID disaster.
Put a tarp on it.
So right here, you're multiplying things together and you get an answer of 0. What does that tell you? At least one of the things has to be 0. But how many are you multiplying here? How many things? Here's one. Here's one. And there's one, right? Aren't we multiplying 3 things together? And if we're multiplying 3 things together and get an answer of 0, that means one of these, either t equals 0, or this one, t plus 2 equals 0, or t minus 3 equals 0. And once you get that far, it's pretty easy to solve it, right? Add 3. So t equals 3, that's one solution. Minus 2 minus 2, t equals -2. And look at this one. There's no work to do. Isn't that nice? No work to do. So t equals 0. If t equals 0 and you put it here, 0 times all the rest of that is obviously 0 then, right? So far, so good. Does that make sense? Because, oh, wouldn't it be nice if they were all that easy? This whole lesson is based on if you multiply things together and get an answer of 0. So you multiply things together and your answer is 0. Guess what we have to do over there first? We have to get it equal 0. Get it equal to 0. Well, you know how to get it equal to 0, don't you? Don't you? I would leave the x squared positive, minus x and minus 30. That's what I would do. So here, put them in order. X squared minus x minus 30 equals, oh, darn it. It's not factored. Like this was already factored for you. Now it's not factored. That's why we've been working on factoring for like 3.5 months. Oh, it just seemed that long. You're going to have to factor this. You're going to have to factor this. You're going to have to factor this. What does it factor into? Well, it has to be x and what, Alex?
-6 positive 5.
-6 positive 5. And then you're multiplying these two things together and you get an answer of 0. That means x minus 6 equals 0, or x plus 5 equals 0. And then you can finish her up, right? Add 6, add 6. So you get x equals 6. Minus 5 minus 5. There we go. Are we good so far? So mostly it's factoring like what we've been doing. Let's do one more. Oh, just for the fun of it. Let's do one more. How about this one? 3x to the third. Solve. Yes, way. 3x to the third. My memory isn't very good today. Equals 4x I better make sure I copied it right. I screwed a couple of them up today. If I screw this one up, we're not going to get the right answer at all. So now what? What do they all have to equal? 0. So how are we going to get that equal to 0? How are we going to get that equal to 0? Maybe subtract. Yes. Multiply this out first, I think. So 3x to the third equals 8. X to the second. And then you have to move over and do 4x times -1. How about that? And now that you have it all multiplied out, now we can get it to the same side, right? Now we can get it all to the same side. Now we can get it all to the same side. I think I like the biggest power of x to be positive, so I'm going to do this. I'm going to get rid of the 8x squared and the 4x. So I have 3x third minus 8x squared plus 4x equals 0. Then what? There's an x coming in all of those, right? So let's take an x out. And you have 3x squared minus 8x. Now, hopefully, that big bunch of stuff in the parentheses, hopefully this can factor. Well, this one, would you agree it has to be 3x and x? Down here, 4 could be 1 times 4, could be 2 times 2. Anybody want to take a pick? 2 times 2? How do you know to pick 2 times 2? Because I've done these enough that you sort of can try to put the pairs together in your head, right? So 2 and 2, it's a positive, so that means either positive times positive or negative times negative. Negative, negative. And then if you want, let's do the minus 2x inside, outside, double check. Minus 6x, what does that give me? Minus 8x, and that's what we need in the middle. So, if you don't mind, I'm going to rewrite it over here just for the fun of it, just so I can see it. 3x minus 2 and x minus 2 equals 0. That's what we have down at the bottom right there. Now, how many things are we multiplying? X times 3x minus 2 times x minus 2. So that means one of those 3 things has to equal 0. So either x equals 0 or 3x minus 2 equals 0 or x take away 2. I'll work out the first one. I'll work out the last one, minus 2. You have to add 2, add 2. So x equals 2 is another solution. And then you have to plus 2 plus 2. So 3x equals 2. And then divide by 3, divide by 3. Can we get a fraction for these? We can get a fraction. That's it, I think I'm done. I don't feel like doing any more. I don't feel like doing any more. I think you've got it. Do you have it? Oh. Where am I? What page? 196. 196. Page 196. WE numbers 1, 2. Oh, I don't know. Where should we go? I had 1 to 58 all. JK, LOL. To 27, and I don't know why I am so kind. The odds. There you go. Tomorrow we're not going to be here.
4:30.
Oh, today was a Friday.